So how's it going, everyone? Hope everyone is well. Had a good weekend. Ready to tackle on the last week of March. So we'll get started very soon here. Just another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll get started. Not too many things on my want to do a little bit more development. I think a lot of dollar and yen pairs. I would like to see a little bit more development on them. So we'll see what happens, and I'll talk about that during the stream. I'll talk about being patient, waiting for setup is really important as a trader. Okay, so hello from DC. Nice to see you, John. Nice to see you. Yeah, so we'll wait, like I said, 10 more seconds, we'll get started. As always, I will go through commodity, indices, and crypto in that order. So we'll start with currency and then we'll go from there. Okay. If you have any pairs that you're watching, if you have any pairs that you want me to take a look, you can type it in there and I will get to it, go to that market. If I don't get to it before you leave, don't worry, I'll always get to it. And you can rewatch the streams. You can watch them on YouTube and TradingView. I always save the streams, so you can rewatch them if you. So let's get started now. It's 14 o'clock. Sorry, 20, not 14. It's 21 o'clock GMT. So let's get started. I always get mixed up with the daylight saving. This is just one of the downside of living in North America, I guess. Daylight saving kind of sucks because twice of the year the time changes with the GMT time, and sometimes when I calculate my time, I always either off or on an hour. So let's get started now. Hello there, hello. Euro yen, I'll certainly go over. So let's start with dollar index. So what do I see dollar index in this week here? Well, there's two possible options. The way how I see it, I'm going to explain both. And this is why you're going to hear me throughout this stream. I'm going to talk about patience because it's about waiting for setup, right? Waiting for confirmation from the price. Okay, we don't need to rush things. So let's start with the high time frame first. So if we look at what I'm seeing here on the dollar index, this is still just a bearish move down, right? So it's important to keep that in the back of your mind if you're looking for a long on dollar, which is what I am. At least I still have a bias for a long on a dollar. But just have to understand that we're still in kind of a overall higher time frame moving downwards. Still in a bearish kind of trend. We did have a lot of bullish confluence here on the lower time frame, which I'll go over, but higher time frame, just to still remember that we could still be potentially rejecting this area and then slowly resume the bearish move. And that's why I'm talking about being patient here is really important. So on the lower time frame, I still see this as being a pretty bullish move. So we have a correction here. We have an impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. So in this last week or so, we have been steadily moving up, right? So that's something that lower time frame is telling us. And I like how we break this previous high impulsively, and there could be a chance that we're going to form continuation here, and then we're just likely to continue upwards. Okay, so that's still kind of my bias for this week. I still want to see kind of strength in dollar, which I'll go over the rest of the pairs. But I also understand that if this move does not move up impulsively, we start moving up correctively like this, then the higher time frame bias. So that's why being patient here is really important. Okay, there's no point trying to be buying here or selling here when there's no setup or no confirmation here. Okay, the confirmation for bullish move, wait for a bullish correction, right? Wait for a bullish continuation, breakout and continue. If it's going to reverse, if we're going to start seeing the weakness of the dollar now, then over here it's likely to form some sort of reversal structure, reversal ascending channel or head and shoulder or whatever it is, right? It's going to be showing you on a price action point of view. So I'm going to be very key to wait for what's going on in this area for the upcoming, couple of days. And that's going to give me a better direction of where the dollar is likely to go. Okay, so Aussie Dollar, sure, I'll go over those. Who's your broker for trading gold? I use Oanda and AxiTrader. If you're in US, you likely not be able to trade gold, right, John? You say you're from DC, then you can't trade gold. You can only trade ETF if you know what that is. Trade ETF or gold related stocks, but you cannot trade gold as a CFD. Okay. I'm gonna check all the crypto at the end. Okay, so bear with me. I will check Neil, but I'm gonna go through all the market first. So you're gonna be a while until I get to there. But like I said, you can rewatch the stream if once I finish. If you don't wait till the end, because I'm just going in orders here. All right. So that's going to Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar, what do I see on Aussie dollar? Well, I still reasonably believe that we can still get a bearish continuation. Okay, we talk about on the higher time frame that this move down from the price here, followed by a really nice continuation, is showing us very good momentum, very good bearish momentum from the price. So this is the area last week that I mentioned that we should watch out for, right? This is the previous low. This is also the head and shoulder pattern. So the neckline of the head and shoulder here. Likely we're going to see two scenarios here. We're going to see a consolidation here, so another correction here, which is what I want to see, and then we can be looking for more sell. Or this is going to be a turning point for the dollar, for at least for Aussie dollar, that this move can move up, and then we sort of this area. Personally, I'm more leaning towards the bearish bias. I like how we have the impulse correction impulse. We already broke out of this higher time frame kind of rising wedge. We have that head and shoulder pattern on the higher time frame. So I do favor the bearish continuation. It's what's going to happen here in the next 1 to 2 days. Is this move just going to continue push up? I don't think so. If it's going to, it has to form a correction. If it forms a correction, then that's going to kind of pretty much the bearish bias may not be there anymore, and now we might be seeing a more bullish bias. But until we see that, I still reasonably believe that this is going to be some sort of correction here. It might be a deeper correction, it might be a longer correction, whatever it's going to do. But I want to see the confirmation breakdown and then continuation for the price. Okay, so that's what I see on Aussie dollar. Let's move on to Kiwi dollar. Thanks for going live. No problem. I do this 3 times a week, my friends. So you're welcome to watch me 3 times a week live on TradingView and on YouTube, right? TradingView, all the stream I keep for forever. So you can watch all my stream if you don't catch it live. All my videos are here. I always save the playlist. So what I see on Kiwi dollar is very similar like Aussie dollar because it's already pushing down. It already gave me that bearish confirmation, impulse, correction. We know what price is reacting. And as always, this is why I said about patience here, right? There's no point shorting here, and there's no point going long here. It's all about what's going to happen in this area, right? We're likely to get a consolidation here, and that consolidation is good for us, right? We know that price can only move in 2 phases: impulsive move, corrective move. Impulsive move, we're likely to get another corrective move here before the next impulse. So wait for something to develop here, in my opinion. Either it's going to be, it might pull back a little bit deeper, but if it's going to be correctively pushing up and down for a little bit longer, then expect some sort of correction to form. We're still going to get the next downside afterwards, okay? So again, being patient here, guys, okay? I can't stress this enough because I have too many people asking me, should I buy this now? Should I sell this now? Honestly, just be patient. The price, the market, it's not going anywhere, right? You just have to be patient, right? You cannot be in that FOMO stage where you're positions where there's no setup here, right? There's no sell setup, there's no buy setup either, all right? What it's likely to do here, in my opinion, is a consolidation. It's going to be a correctional phase, okay? And that's going to give us a where the price is likely to go, and we can capitalize it a little bit better. But ultimately, I still see this as a very strong bearish continuation, right? So likely just going to be a further correction here before the next down move, okay? Subbing my YouTube now, thank you, I appreciate that. Let's continue. So euro dollar, same idea for the dollar, right? We've been seeing the dollar pushing down, and my bias is the same. I still want to see what price will do when we reach this low. Looks like we are just pushing down more and more now, right? Where there's a correction here. So we start from the top. We have a ascending channel, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, right? So we already be pushing down massively already. So I just don't see it just start reversing up, which is what a lot of people are saying that's going to do. But everyone trades differently, so that's why I mentioned you can always have your own strategy, your own risk management. So personally, what I'm seeing now is, well, we have a little bit bearish push down from this last bit of consolidation. So if we get more correction here, definitely see the move when we reach this low. You can try to fit an entry here, but that's really not in my style because we're getting pretty close already. I think the entry should have been here, which is what I talk about here when I'm looking for a sell here. I think the sell should have been here if you're not in this one. But if it's already dropping like this, then I don't think entering here would be ideal. Best to just kind of wait to see what price would do if we're going to break this low and then a deeper pullback and continue downwards more. So pound dollar is going to be my favorite dollar pair going into this week. I've been talking about pound dollar ever since from the top, right? We talk about how the pound dollar, when it was in this kind of long correction, that price is correcting. But the moment we're going to see the bearish continuation is going to be the time we're going to capitalize on something. So we know that this is ascending channel. We know this is a higher time frame corrective structure, and lower time frame ascend push down, impulse correction, impulse, all of this correction. So this steep pullback here, this is the key here in my opinion, is this is not impulsive. Okay, this is a key difference between impulsive phrase. This is an impulsive phrase. To me, this is corrective. Okay, so when you see corrective phrase moving up like this, and if you zoom out, you know that the price is in a bearish kind of trend. So expect this to be some sort of continuation correction to go down. Whether this ascending channel is enough, or we might form a deeper correction, something like this, and then we still go down afterwards. But regardless what the price will do, we understand that when this ascending channel completes, when this higher time frame correction finish, there is a very high probability we're just going to see the next impulse all the way down to a lows here. Okay, so it's not going to go in a straight line, but what we're likely to do is if we form a correction here, we go down, there's going to be a big pullback, and eventually reach the low. So there's going to be a few more entries definitely along the way. Okay, so it just depends on your risk management, your entry criteria, things like that, how you trade, etc., to be able to capture something like this. Definitely trying to look for an entry during this area here when price is still at the beginning of its next bearish run. Okay. So I'm not going to do crypto at the very end. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. You're welcome to type it in the chat. I'm gonna go through it when I get to crypto market, but I'm going through in order. So I'm gonna go through currency, commodity, indices, and crypto. Okay, in that order. So if you have something you want me to take a look, just write it in there. I'll get to it eventually. All right. So let's move on to dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is still pushing up, right? I talk about dollar CAD being a very strong reversal. We're pushing up already, which is good. Descending channel, expanding structure. We're pushing above that. Great. So what we're going to see here is, are we going to see a correction here, which is what I want to see to continue this bullish trend. We have been pushing up already quite a bit. We have been pushing up a couple hundred pips already, so 200 pips or so. And actually to form some before we continue upwards. Okay, so this week, again, I'm going to mention that word being patient. Right now, I'm not really seeing much on the lower time frame here. If you notice, we're kind of moving sideways now, right? Ultimately, the overall bias for me is still looking for the bullish reversal from this. Because if we zoom out here on dollar CAD, we have been pushing down all this time after the initial COVID, right? So after COVID, we had just been in a decline, and we're right back into this potential double bottom here down the higher time frame, and we're still in this kind of a descending channel, okay, descending channel reversal, and I like that we're pretty much rejecting the bottom, which is kind of what I expected that will do. and we're pushing up now, but naturally a little bit more consolidation, a little bit more correction for the price to continue. And if we're able to break out of this correction here, and then there's more lower time frame continuation, then expect a big reversal from dollar CAD here. All right. So that is dollar CAD. Let's go dollar Swiss. A lot of you guys are in dollar Swiss. So I mentioned about dollar Swiss last week, about potential continuation correction here. We impulse up very aggressively, and naturally price needs to correct. So after the price correct, we have the next impulse. There's some of you guys who was looking for entry like this. I think some of you guys caught this entry here and then put the stop loss below, if I recall. So you're in okay profit, I'm assuming. So be careful here now is just adjust your stop loss. If I would just to protect your capital and see if price will form more correction, and we're just going to continue upwards more and more. If you look at the higher time frame here, we already break this previous high, which is what the price is, the previous swing high area before the down move. So we broke the high here, we broke the high, and we formed continuation correction. So that's just a very simple sign from the market that we're just going to get the next impulsive phase. So look at on the higher time frame here, we break the high, we have this correction here. So look for price to just continue going upwards and upwards, and look for a small lower time frame correction here to possibly get in. Dollar yen, I will go over that, sure. Yeah, I over those index, Christina. I will go over those after I finish currency. So let's continue with dollar Singapore dollar. Same idea like dollar CAD. If we look at this, this is just an overall kind of a bearish run. We have all the, and this is what's more fascinating is that we have this similar kind of a reversal structure, right? We talk about structures, we need to have at least two swing highs and two swing lows, which is what this correction has. And this falling wedge pushing the price down to a double bottom, and then we have impulse, correction, impulse, right? We impulse out of this reversal correction, and looks like there is potential continuation. If you guys recall last week, I did take an entry here for a break even. I was looking for the structure like this, and then we had a breakout. We had a breakout, there was a continuation here, so I just opted with the entry order. But price just didn't push up impulsively as what I would expect it to do, so I just moved my stop loss to break even, and then slowly take down. But this doesn't phase me, this doesn't change my bias at all. All I can see is that we might just be forming a deeper correction, something like this, to correct a little bit longer before the next up move. And that's why protecting your capital, protecting your stop, move your stop loss to break even is super important, at least the way how I trade, because that's how you don't take unnecessary losses, right? You wait for price to form deeper correction here, and then we're still side. All right. So those are the dollar pairs. Okay, any question, let me know. But overall, I'm just still bullish on the dollar. I do want to wait for more development. I'm not saying to short right now, so don't quote me on that. All I'm saying is I want to see further development from dollar, from pretty much all the dollar pair, to give me a little bit more bias to sell, right? To get strength in dollar, right? And my favorite one, in my opinion, we're going to be pound dollar here. Okay, so dollar yen. Talk about dollar yen from the bottom here. If you guys got in from the bottom here, good. Talk about this dollar yen move already, right? So price push up massively to the upside. And I mentioned this is the area where you really need to watch out for. Some of you guys actually just enter here. That's fine if as long as that fits your plan. But personally, I'm really not looking to buy there because there's this higher time frame structure here, right? Even though this is pushing up, this is good maybe from your point of view, but what if just start consolidating a little bit longer like this, right? And this is where people got trapped in a correction here where it just started dropping down and move all the way back down. That can happen sometimes, right? And that's why I personally won't be buying the breakout and then a bigger lower time frame correction. And that is the same as how the pound dollar trade I'm looking for. And this is something that I'm definitely going to get in if that happens. If we zoom out on the higher time about this this longer period of a consolidation from higher time frame, so a channel or a flag, and we've been correcting this area for a long time, right? Since 2016, 2017, pretty much have this correction, reverse correction, and we have strong impulse to the upside, right? So all this is pretty favorable for us. We're looking for a continuation, and that's why I personally would just wait for price to break out and then another correction here. That's going to be my entry for the upside. Okay, so if you're in there, just like I said, be careful. Watch for price. If it's going to be corrective, then move your stop accordingly. If it's going to impulsively break out, great. You hold your trade and then look for a scaling entry for the next buy. Okay. Do you not think a MACD helped with the bias of momentum of the move? I know what you mean, but I personally, because I felt a lot of people, what they do is it becomes a habit to be looking at those indicators on the bottom, and it becomes where they're not even looking at the technical anymore. They're just looking at those two lines where it crosses going down. It's going to be bearish. I find that it confuses traders when they have indicators where they're not. At the end of the day, is an indicator helping you to understand the chart more? But if people are just going to forget about the charts and all they do look at is the indicators, then is not helping, right? So that's why I don't use any of the indicators. Okay. BTC, I will go over that. Okay, just bear with me. I'm going in order. I'm gonna finish the currency market first. Okay, so crypto is for me is last, but I will go over those. You should break out that big B wave. Yeah, if you trade Elliott wave, I don't know how you drew your wave, but personally, I do see the breakout photo. Aussie Kiwi, I'll go over that, no problem. So those are the dollar pairs. The other ones here. It's hard to see the price on your chart. That's the whole point, my friend. I'm not here to give you signals if that's what you're looking for. All I'm giving you is the analysis, right? I'm giving you a pretty breakdown of what I think the pair was going to go, how you enter, how you manage, how you set your entry, stop loss, your take profit, whatever. That's totally up to you. So let's talk about Aussie Cat here. If you guys recall, Aussie Cat, I still pretty see it as a bearish potential. I was able to get in one of this Aussie Cat trade. I was able to get in on this run here. So pretty good overall. I will update this in the weekly outlook. Lastly, last weekly trade recap, sorry. So what I see now is, well, price continued to go down, right? We push down, followed by correction. We push down again, and looks like we're just forming another all this time. There's no difference here, right? There's really no difference here. When we see it on a higher time frame, when we broke out this kind of rising wedge, when we impulse out of that rising wedge, there's just going to be so many of these impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction. That's just how the price move. So when you start seeing this, right, you just understand that this is likely to be another corrective phase before the continuation. So keep an eye on that, right? Keep an eye on that because I'm likely to see this just continue to drop to the next low or even to the beginning of the correction here. So there's lots of room for more entries, right? So how I see this now, again, I'm gonna say that word, patient, right? I wouldn't just be shorting here. I'd rather see a structure here, right? Something like this. That's going to be the next sell. If you notice, price doesn't just do a little pullback and then doji candle and start dropping. That's usually not how the price works. If we look closely here, we always going to form a correction, right? We're not just have a pullback and then continue. It's always a correction. There's always a structure here. If we look closely, there's always going to be, there's a head and shoulder structure. There's a head and shoulder structure. Also expecting the same thing. So be a little bit more patient and wait for the correction to complete and then wait for the next sell. You're referring to the BTC? Okay, sorry. I haven't looked at BTC yet, but like I said, I'll look it over afterwards. So, but I'm not really bullish on any of the crypto. I just thought I'd give a heads up. I don't see bullish on crypto at all. Okay, my point on crypto is still very bearish in my opinion. So let's look at Aussie Swiss. Not too much here. Someone asked me about Aussie Swiss. I'm gonna go over Euro Aussie. I think that's a better one to get involved with. Okay, so but Aussie Swiss, if we look at the overall price, we're kind of consolidating here. We're not really going up or down. And if we look at the higher time frame here, this is a potential top that price hasn't reached. You can argue there is a consolidation. Be careful here. You know, there's a few ways of drawing this. If you want to draw it like this, and you thinking it's going to go up, or you can draw it the way how I'm seeing it. I see this as a bearish move down. This is as a bullish up, but this is more as expanding correction here, and then we have an impulse down, right? So if we're going to form another correction here, which is kind of what I want to see, then I do expect this move to continue downwards. So again, patient, right? Waiting for the setup to happen. If it doesn't, then no trade for me. If this is going to continue going up, no trade for us, right? So let's continue here to Aussie Kiwi. Someone asked me about Aussie Kiwi. I certainly do see Aussie Kiwi can be a bullish move now, right? We talk about how the overall price has been in a bearish trend, and then we have this kind of a falling wedge, and then a reversal bullish move. This is where I got in my entry, if I recall. And then price continued to push up, and then pretty much form a bigger structure. This is kind of what I was looking at. Is this a bigger structure here for the previous move? Yeah, well, this is an impulse up. This looks like a pendant kind of correction, and we're breaking out. So what do we expect from here? Well, is this going to form a correction here again? It looks like it's another pendant, and it looks like we can be breaking up. So I mentioned this last week that this is something that I was going to be kind of looking at it more. If you're in the trade from here, obviously move your stop loss to break even and see what will happen in this area. This looks like there's going to be a continuation. We're going to continue upwards more and more. Okay, is that we're approaching this previous top here. So you gotta be very careful. There's not too much room here. That's the only thing why it kind of isn't on my watch list or isn't on my to-go watch list, because I see the top very, very close. Is there enough room to push up? Obviously, if this is going to be a bullish move push up, then obviously these doesn't really matter. But if it's not going to, then it's the same idea like dollar yen, that what if prices move up correctively and then reverse back down again. Aussie Kiwi, as we know, is corrected, right? You look at all this period of time. We've been correcting since like 2014, right? And of course, the longer period of this correction goes, the more neutral it gets, right? So this bearish move down followed by correction is likely to have a reversal. But is this the time to have reversal, or are we just going to see further consolidation before the next up move, right? That's why I'm not too interested in the buy here. The buy, but as we getting closer to the top here, then you just have to be a little bit more careful. Okay. My friend, I was hoping he can tell me the breakout price on both sides. I know it's correcting if he says it's bearish, so BTC is going up, I assume. Honestly, I'm not seeing. I'm just gonna jump to it really quick since this is a topic, but I'm not really seeing the bullish move at all, to be honest. Right, my bias from here is still always bearish, because after price form a bigger correction like this, after it's just naturally for the price to form bigger consolidation, which is what price is likely to do before the next up move. I just don't see it being bullish from this point forward. I don't see that at the moment. Okay, so or into buying crypto at this moment. I just see most of them short-term wise, we can just see another bearish move down, forming some sort of bigger structure, and we're going to go up afterwards. Okay, so Hey Jojo, when you see a price is about to reverse, maybe like going to form a second bottom, would you enter with this very stop loss, small stop loss, or will you wait for impulsive move? Again, this is just different preference, right? Let's talk about Aussie Yen example. So same idea, let's just say it's reverse, okay? You're saying bottoms, let's just say the top, right? So there's really different ways of entering the trades, right? You can enter here with a tight stop loss move, the first impulsive move followed by correction. I personally always wait for that, or in this kind of scenario, I would always wait for that. There's really no right and wrong, right? You can do this your way or you can do it wrong way. That's all I'm trying to say. It's what suits you in your plan. The worst thing that you can do is sometimes do this, sometimes do this, or sometimes do this. That's how people get into a emotional type of trading where they're not really following their plan or their strategy anymore. They're just hoping for the trade to work out. So if you see something that works in your favor with a tighter stop loss without the first impulse, just understand that sometimes the price can reverse and your tight stop loss is going to get triggered very easily. Okay, but obviously if the trade works out, then you're going to be in a massive profit, right? But for me, I personally like to wait for a more confirmation. So that first impulse down, first correction, and then look for the next move. But that's me personally, right? So that's in my plan. That's the way how I like to manage or get into trades. But if you like the different way, there's go ahead, right? There's nothing wrong, right? As long as you back test it, as long as you're comfortable at the risk that you're involved, then nothing wrong with that. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go over pound yen, no worries. So, am I a Falcon student? I don't even know what that is, but I'm not. So, let's continue. Aussie yen. Talk about Aussie yen. I was able to get in Aussie yen last week, if you guys recall. I was able to capture some of the Aussie yen move, so I captured it pretty much just to here. Trade continued to go down, but what do I see this week with Aussie yen? Well, um, what I expect, well, what I was originally looking at is I thought this can be a continuation correction for all this move, and I was ready to see if there's going to be any kind of reversal in this area. But turns out to be none. We kind of just continue push up. But that's too early to say that this is going to continue going up now. I think that we can expect a deeper correction, something like this, and then we still continue going downwards. The only thing that's going to change my bias is if we start getting consolidation here, if we start getting some sort of bullish consolidation to push the price to upside, then I'm not really looking to short this anymore. But personally, I still like the bias frame. This to me is still a double top. This is a clear ascending channel moving the price up, and we have pretty much a sharp impulse here and followed by an ascending channel. I talk about this in my recap video. M style pattern, double top, head and shoulder pattern, bearish reversal impulse, right? So everything is looking good for bearish continuation. This is a clear bearish impulse, right? So naturally, are we going to see a similar kind of ascending channel like this to push the price up all the way to the top and drop again? We don't know, but all I'm saying is I don't see this as a bullish push up yet until we see a little bit more development here. But for now, I think again, being patient, right? I'm gonna repeat that word the whole session. Is there's really no buy here, and really there's really no sell here in my opinion either. After this kind of a strong push up to the upside, so just be a little bit on the sideline, right? Wait for a little bit more development. I prefer to see a little bit bigger structure, and then we're going to downside afterwards. That's going to be something to either enter here or enter when you break out. I think that's fine. Okay, so that's what I see on Aussie Yen. Thank you for answering the question. Yeah, no problem. That's why I'm doing live stream. Welcome the answers. I don't mind. I don't. I just love seeing people talk and do charts. That's why I'm here. Yeah, thanks a lot, Yuri. That's what I'm doing here. I like the interaction, guys. So let's move on to a few more yen pairs. Someone asked about euro yen. It's the same as most of the yen pairs I've been talking about. We did all see that strong bearish push down from the yen, and I think most of you guys should capture that. Right, since 2 weeks of yen pairs, right? So I personally got in on Aussie yen and pound yen. But I'm sure a lot of you guys should be able to get in on some of the yen pairs if you were listening to me. But what I see now is kind of a pullback on the yen pairs in this last 1 or 2 days of last week. And to me, overall, if I just zoom out here a little bit, overall euro yen to me, I still see this as kind of a rising wedge. We have this kind of a corrective structure, ascending channel. We correct the price all the way up. And what I want to see here is because we impulsively break out, correction, impulse again, and I was really looking to see, same idea like Aussie Yen, I was really to see if this is going to be a continuation move from the price, but instead we didn't get that. So again, patience is key here, right? We might just be forming a deeper structure like this, same thing with Aussie Yen, and then we go down, continue, or we might pull back all the way to here, and then still a bigger structure and go down afterwards. But what I don't likely to see is just push up from here. I just don't see that. We might get a short-term bullish push up like this on a lower time frame, but this is not something I expect to just push up. I just don't see that after this strong of a lower time frame bearish impulse, and we start seeing that first sign of higher time frame reversal. Remember, I always talk about is we don't want to get stuck in consolidation. Traders tend to do when they lose money is they're entering the trade when it's in the consolidation. We want to enter when it's in the impulsive phase of the market, so the price moves very impulsive. You don't want to get trapped when it's in the consolidation phase. Okay, so wait for something to develop here, right? Wait for a structure to develop here if that's going to happen, and look for the next impulsive phase. It will be better if we just break out of this higher time frame structure and lower time frame correction to go. That's also going to be my go-to entry as well. Okay. Hello, hello. US 30, I will go over that. No problem. Am I a professional crypto trader? What do you mean by professional, right? Well, I've been trading for 8 years. This is my 8th year in trading. I don't day trade crypto. Okay, I only trade crypto like as in a more investment, long-term hold. So I don't like to sell crypto. It's like I don't like to trade. I don't like to. I don't like to short hold stocks, like hold equities. But Forex, commodity indices, yeah, I would trade them. I would say I'm more day trading Forex, like holding a trade for a few days for a week or two before I sell. But for crypto, for equities, I like to hold them for longer term. Okay, so that's hopefully that answers that question. So pound yen, let's talk about pound yen. I think some of you guys all got in pound yen with me. Hopefully you got some profit from pound yen. I still reasonably believe that we can still see the next move down from pound yen. Was able to get in 2 of these cells here, but this cell here I didn't capture. I didn't hold up enough profit. I'll explain in my weekly trade recap video. But this is what I see now is when I saw this move down, pushing down, and this was the ascending kind of a corrective channel that was making, I was really looking to see if this is going to continuation correction to go down lower. And that's why I was giving this trade a little bit more room to move. I should have moved the stop loss to here to burn maybe another percentage here or so. But sometimes that happens. So what I see now here is what do I expect for the price to do now? Well, it's the same approach like every other yen pairs. We all have this push up, but is this going to form a bullish continuation to go up? Then this may invalid everything we see here. But if it doesn't, if we're just going to start consolidating here, we're going to see a bigger structure here, then expect that to happen, right? So patience is key here, okay? I doubt that we're going to see this bullish move. I doubt we're going to break up above this high and continue higher. I don't see that after I see this bearish move down. What is likely to do now is more consolidation. Okay, and that's why if you're in the trade, I don't know if you're in the trade from the top or if you're in the trade from somewhere, just be careful because we're just going to see a deeper consolidation here now. That's what I expect pound yen to do. And if this consolidation finishes, then I will be looking for the next sell. Okay. What does DXY tell us about dollar pair? Well, you can look at DXY to give you of where the dollar. So I talked about this in the beginning. I personally see more potential bullish on the price, but also understand that the higher time frame has been moving down bearishly. So this is the area we want to be a little bit more careful. I rather wait for a little bit more bullish confirmation. That will be better for me to get back into some of these dollar pairs. So I'm a little bit behind. I've had 21.40 already, so let's speed up a little bit. Euro Aussie here. So I talk about Euro Aussie from the bottom here. When we start seeing this descending channel from the price, we push down to this higher time frame double bottom. We have this impulse followed by correction, and pretty much looking for the impulse, right? So we have an impulse breakup, and I was looking for a continuation correction here. I personally took two trades here. If you guys recall in my trade recap, I took a 0.5 profit and I took a full loss here, so pretty much resulted into a minus 0.5 profit. But I still reasonably, again, believe that we can be forming a deeper correction here. To the impulse up here, I like this correction. I like how we're pretty much impulsively breaking all of this descending channel. So naturally, I will be looking to see continuation here. This move up is followed by a move down to just be buying here, in my opinion. I want to see some sort of correction like this. Then I'll be looking for the next buy. Okay. So that's going to be same as Euro Kiwi here. Euro Kiwi even massively push up all the way, right? Again, we talked about Euro Kiwi when it was in this descending channel. And sometimes some price is going to move a little bit faster, some is not, right? So we push up, correction, and we massively push out again, right? Pretty much it was what we expected that would happen. So all it is now is, are we going to form continuation here? Is this enough correction to go? Doesn't look like it, so expect this move to form a bigger correction, right? Something like this, and then we're going upside afterwards. Expect something in the size of this because we took, after the strong impulse up, we took this much long to correct the price. Almost 18 days, so that's like 2.5 weeks to correct the price, and then the next impulse happened. So same thing here. Expect correction here. So don't jump in the trade when it's in the corrective phase. Like I always say, wait for the correction to finish, wait for the next impulse, right? To the top here. I will go over gold Forex trading. I'll go over gold after I finish. I'm almost on currency here. I'm moving as fast as I can, so I apologize. I will talk about gold. I will talk about other indices as well. I will talk about GA. Sure, no problem. Based on my analysis, I see a sell on US 30. I'll go over US 30. I'll explain my kind of view on it. Okay. So let's continue here. Let's go over the remaining two that I want to talk about. Kiwi Cad. So Kiwi Cad, I think it's no-brainer that a lot of us are in the sell kind of bias. If you guys recall, or some of you guys for sure, will see that you got in on the sell here. So that's a lot of profit that you're holding. So definitely still hold it if you're still in the trade. Expect a correction here, right? That's always what I talk about. If you notice that we broke all of this ascending channel, and then we broke out this higher time frame ascending channel, this is just a strong bearish impulse, right? And I mentioned here is that if we get a breakout from the correction here, and which is right, wait for a continuation here and get in on the next sell. Okay, so this is just no-brainer here in my opinion. Once we break out of the channel like this, once we broke all of this higher time frame structure, naturally we're just going to get another consolidation here for the downside. Is this enough correction to go? I'm gonna say I want to wait for a bigger correction, just like most of the other pairs that we have seen. It's not that this correction cannot go, it's just that we have dropped down pretty impulsively already. If you look at how much we have dropped, that's like almost 600 pips that we drop in pretty much like within a month, right? So that's quite a bit move from the pair. Just naturally from experience, we're going to see a deeper correction, but the deeper correction you see, the longer it is, the better the next impulsive raise will happen. Always remember that, right? When you see a deeper consolidation, when you see a larger consolidation, the strong move will happen. Okay. So Kiwi Swiss, talk about Kiwi Swiss here as well. This is very when identifying the like really distinguish the price, distinguish the impulsive phrase versus the corrective phrase, really important. I get a lot of messages from people at the time they're looking at the structure like this. They're like, well, this is an impulse. Shouldn't this continue to go upside? Well, they're not looking into what the price is doing. Sure, this is an impulse, but this is a reversal impulse. This is what I talk about in one of my educational videos. When you see a reversal impulse followed by a continuation correction, it pretty much neglect the previous impulse, okay? A lot of people don't really understand this, is when you see an impulse, naturally you're going to see a continuation correction. If you don't see that, you're going to see a reversal structure to push down. But if you don't even see that, you just see a impulse up and a reversal impulse down, that shows you that the bullish momentum is exhausted. And after seeing that such of a strong bearish move down followed by a deeper correction, we're just likely to see the next continuation, which is what we get here. So same idea, are we going to get a consolidation here? I want to wait for a bigger correction to be able to look for a sell. I don't expect this to just push out from here. That's not what I expect it to do. Give the price a little bit more like itself, I will like this and move the price down, and that will form a correction here and to push down price lower. Okay, so that's Kiwi Swiss. Do you trade Nasdaq? I will go over Nasdaq after. I'll go over all the indices first. I'll call you the boost. What's the boost? Yeah, Omar. What's the boost? Hey Kevin, nice to see you. So last one, pound Aussie. Pound Aussie. What do I see on pound Aussie? Not gonna watch this, but I do see a reasonable potential sell here. Okay. This is kind of what I see. We know that pound Aussie from a higher time frame has been in a consolidation phase here. So nice impulse down followed by correction. Nice impulse down, and can this be a continuation to go lower? If we go to the lower time frame here, this is probably what you're looking at. I'm not sure this is what you're looking at, but I only see sell here. I only see this is an impulse and followed by a correction, and this is a impulse down, and this is a kind of correction within the correction, which is very good, and potentially seeing a bearish move from the price here. Okay, not on my watches. The reason why, because we pair being strength at the moment. Okay, we've been talking about these like Aussie dollar being bearish, right? That means the Aussie is losing strength, right? And I went over Aussie Cad, Aussie Kiwi, Aussie Yen. To me, they can all be continuation bearish. Same with Kiwi pairs, right? Kiwi dollar being bearish, that means that Euro Kiwi is bullish, and Kiwi Cad and Kiwi Swiss are all being bearish, right? So that means I'm just holding at least a bias on the Aussie and Kiwi pair being bearish. And pound Aussie and pound Kiwi doesn't look as attractive, even though they are still showing kind of a bearish sign. But especially pound Kiwi, when they broke the structure and looks like we're just having continuation. I remember someone asked me this in Telegram. What do I see on pound Kiwi? I took the screenshot here, right? Because when price just impulsively breaks out of this continuation bearish structure and then form a continuation correction, just doesn't show me momentum anymore. Okay, so kind of the same thing as here on pound Aussie is yes, I'm seeing this as a potential continuation, but all the other Aussie pairs not really showing me the same. So that's pound Aussie, guys. Any question on the currency pair before I move on to other things? I talk a little bit behind my time, but any question, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to continue to commodities now. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's go commodities. Let's go US oil first. US oil, I like the price action here. I talk about this all the way from the top here that we might be seeing a bearish move on oil. So we have this push down from oil, which is great. And I like how we're forming a correction here. This is kind of what I always look at, kind of an expanding correction that I talk about in my video. So what I want to is, looks like we're getting a little bit of rejection, but that's not enough to confirm this yet. Preferably a push down followed by a correction here within the correction. This is valid to enter for a sell, or if you want to wait for a down followed by, that's fine as well. Okay, so but overall to me is looking pretty bearish. I do expect price, if this correction completes, I do expect price to go to this previous low. Second, right, from oil, I've been talking about oil. Those of you who follow me for a little bit longer, when price reached this previous high, I already talk about my biases that we're met again. We're going on the price, and that's kind of exactly what happened. So we broke this previous low, we broke the low, and right now we're forming some sort of consolidation. So naturally, I want to see if price can continue all the way down to the previous low. Okay. Let's talk about gold first. Dollar yen I already went over. Dollar yen I went over already. I mentioned that I'm not interested in buying here since the price has already moved up massively already. I mentioned about for me to be buying, I want to see price to break out of this higher time frame structure here and getting in on the next lower time frame correction. That is going to be my buy. That's going to be the more uh, uh, risk-free trade. Whereas if you're buying here, you're getting so close to the top here. What if the price start reversing and you're just going to get tagged out very easily, right? So that's why we wait for confirmation. Wait for confirmation in this sense here. Okay. Oh, it's like raining really hard outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it's raining really hard here for me. Okay, so Aussie dollar. My Aussie dollar, I'm looking at Aussie dollar being still bearish. That's me personally looking at the higher time frame. I mentioned about this area here is an area to watch out for. I still reasonably like the impulse correction impulse. I mentioned just because this is that neckline of that head and shoulder now. So I want to be a little bit more careful. I want to wait for a little bit bigger correction here if that's going to happen, and then look for the next sell. Okay, so that's Aussie dollar. So let's move on to dollar. Let's look at gold. I already went over those, my friend. So if you missed it, you just have to rewatch it. So let's look at dollar, not dollar, gold. Let's look at gold here. It's kind of giving you different kind of point of view. So I want to wait for a little bit more development. Okay, so let's put it this way. If we're just solely looking at the higher time frame, I still reasonably like the potential continuation structure here on the higher time frame. This looks like pretty much at the bottom of the channel here, and something could happen here to reverse back up. Okay. However, there's different way of seeing this because this is kind of how the lower time frame keep developing, right? And we just have to adapt to what the price is doing. Originally, I was looking at a potential long, right? When I see this descending channel, we push up, and there is a correction here. We're just looking at this to go long. But price isn't moving up correctively. It started moving up sideways. So it looks like that we're forming a kind of a continuation correction here for this move. So impulse followed by correction, and also you can see this is going to go down further. That didn't happen. Now that we start seeing a different structure now, so start seeing that a sideways kind of consolidation, sideways kind of correction. So reasonably believe that this still valid, this push up still valid. This looks like a correction here, and we could potentially push more. Sorry guys, let me close my window here. Oh, it's not raining, it's snowing. It's snowing, or it's at least snowing here in Vancouver. So weird. All right, so that's what I see on gold, and it's a little bit. This area here is a little bit conflicting. Okay, I'm gonna be very honest. I'm not even going to speculate where it's going to go. I'm just kind of point out what I see here. Okay, so that's kind of what I see in terms of a bullish bias. If this breaks out, continuation correction, then that can lead into the next bullish run. But if you're seeing this as how I was originally seeing this, impulse down correction, is this going to go down? It's very hard to tell, and that's why I'm not really, I'm not really speculating on this because I can see it both ways, right? I don't have to be like, okay, I think this is going to go up or I think this is going to go down. More development to give me a bias, right? You don't always have to have a bias on whether to buy or not. If the price doesn't give you that, or if it's still developing into something, then let it be. Okay, so that's what I see on gold. Okay, I hope that answers some of you guys' question. I think a lot of us are looking at gold, but sometimes there is just better different things to trade, right? Because this to me is just a little bit still indecisive in kind of a couple directions, whereas a couple other trades are shaping up, right? So you can choose among the ones that are shaping up to be better, and these ones are still developing, leave it on the side, okay? I want to go over silver because silver was a trade I took, if you guys recall. I did enter the silver trade and I took out for about 1.3% profit. Originally was looking at this as that double top, so impulse correction, looking for the next impulse. For a short-term kind of trade before the next up move, that's what I was looking at. But if we look closely here, I was able to get in here, push down, correct, push down by really strong reversal impulse followed by a continuation correction. That's when I exit the trade for about 1.3, I think. And right now, all I'm seeing is a potential inverse head and shoulder. And I really don't like seeing this when I have, right? This looks like an inverse head and shoulder pattern, right? So if this price breaks off followed by correction, then the bearish bias to me is no longer there, right? It's no longer there. This push down is reversal push up. Not seeing the bearish sell anymore. Originally, I was going to see if the sell is going to hit this low. If it does and break below the low, I would get pretty decent profit. But if that doesn't happen, then all we can do is adjust our management, adjust my stop loss, and take out the trade accordingly and move on, right? That is all we can do. So I always emphasize this with all my coaching people is you cannot control how the market moves. No one can, right? But you can control your entry, your stop loss, your take profit, your management, etc. Okay, so that's silver, that's gold. We talk about. That is about it. So, any question on these commodities, guys, before I jump into the indices? All right, so let's talk about the indices first. Let's talk about indices. Because last week I was originally looking at them being bearish, right? And I was I pointed out in my in my market update at the time when I was looking at this, I like the impulse correction impulse. But what I didn't like is on Friday when we just have this massive bullish reversal, right? Pretty much all the indices had this massive bullish reversal. So you just have to understand what the market is telling us, right? Remember, we are not married to our analysis. We have a bias, we have an analysis, but if the market changes, because the market develops, you have to learn to let go. You have to learn to drop your ego and understand that, okay, well, this is what the market is telling us. Now this looks like an impulse. Now it looks like a continuation correction we broke out, right? The bearish bias was there is no longer there, right? So we have to learn to adapt. We have to learn to understand that, okay, so now the market is continue to evolve now. So what do we see? Well, this is all I'm seeing right now. Let's just by a continuation correction, which is what we always say. While a bullish breakout, the trend line doesn't mean anything, but if it's followed by a continuation, then obviously now it means something. So to me is this breakout here is going to be significant once we break above this level. And if there's more continuation, then this can turn into a full-on bullish move, right? The bearish move was there, but it was no longer there, right? So we just have to understand that. Okay, and that's why I understand all the time is originally if your bias is looking for a bearish sell, at the time I think there's no problem with that. But once we see this bullish reversal for the price, the bullish reversal impulse, then we have to adapt to what the market is telling us. So for me, it's likely not going to happen much here in the Asia or New York, London session, but in the Monday New York session, I want to see if the price is going to break above and continue upwards, or we're gonna see a double top here and then here is confirmed. Yeah, that's why I want to wait for when market opens in New York, and then we'll actually get to see a little bit more development in this area. Okay, so I'm gonna jump to the couple other indices. So S&P 500, same idea here. Again, originally we were looking at this as a bearish move. We pushed down, and all of them had this impulse followed by a reversal impulse, and we pretty much just broke out of this structure here. Originally, we had this ascending channel double top, right? But again, we pushed down, but the push down is just corrective. It's not in an impulsive move, like what we expected to do, expected to see, and now it becomes a bullish push up followed by a correction, and we push up again. So same idea as Dow Jones US 30 is, are we just going to break above this now? And if we break above followed by continuation, then all this previous bearish ascending channel is no longer valid, right? No longer valid. If we don't see that, then if we start seeing a corrective move out followed by another push down, then this might be that next bearish move to the downside, at least to the lows of the structure here. Okay, so I don't want to speculate here more development, right? This is, again, I'm going to repeat the word, being patient, right? From the dollar pair, from the currency, till the commodities, till now indices, most of them are just in the area where you just need to wait for a little bit more to hear, understanding where the price will go. Okay. So Nasdaq, same idea here. We originally was looking at this as a pullback, like an impulse correction, but now as we see a little bit more deeply here, is that all this push down is followed by more push up, and this looks like a correction for this move now. So we can't ignore that, right? Same idea is we impulse, correction, impulse. Now we just have a reversal impulse followed by potential continuation. So if this breaks above followed by more continuation, then this can go all the way back to the top. Okay, so that's kind of what I see on Nasdaq at the moment. Okay, the bearish, like I said, the bearish price action was there last week, right? We can't ignore that, but we also can't ignore that the price continued to develop into a bullish price action. Okay, so that's what we have to do as traders, right? We have to adapt to what the market should. We can't just be like, okay, I think this is a sell, so you keep thinking this is going to be a sell, and then you're just ignoring the bullish bias that it's showing you as well. So every time when you look at the chart, you just have to have a neutral point of view, perspective every time, because that's how you stay away from emotional trading. Okay, so that is Nasdaq. Just look. I think someone else asked about other indices, so I'm just scrolling back. Nasdaq, yeah. US Russell 2000. So I don't see too much on Russell 2000. I mean, we know that we broke the previous high, we broke out, we continue to move up. There's really no kind of structure here. This is why I kind of stay away from it. I mean, I could try to form that there's a structure here, but that's not really a structure here in my opinion. And most of all, I'm not really seeing much in terms of price development here. This looks like it can be forming some sort of inverse head and shoulder, but this bearish down is looking that we might see something like this to go down more. But right now, I'm not really seeing much here from Russell 2000. I'll talk about Nikkei. So Nikkei 225. Last price didn't hit this double top here and then drop down. So watch for a correction to go down lower. If it does not, then we might be seeing this bullish reversal back up again. So that's kind of what we're seeing here, right? This correction here, so inverse head and shoulder, and pushing up to the top here, and we'll see what happens when the price reaches this top here. Really not interested in the buy here. I don't think the buy it's gonna be short-lived really. If this is going to be a top the price might react to, then I don't think the buy here is justifiable. Okay. Head and shoulder on Nasdaq. How are you? Are you seeing an inverse head and shoulder or a head and shoulder? So inverse head and shoulder like this. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what we mean, right? We can't ignore the bullish bias that we're seeing now, right? So this is kind of looking at an inverse head and shoulder. We might be going up more. So that's why originally maybe Wednesday or Thursday, I was originally looking at a potential bearish continuation, but if the price isn't forming that, we just have to adapt, right? That's kind of always what I meant. So any indices, guys, to come on crypto at the end. I'm gonna wrap it up with crypto. Not too much for me in crypto, but I'll talk about all the cryptos, at least the major one. All right, so let's wrap it up with crypto. I'll go over some that you guys mentioned as well in the chat. BTC, I'll go over. There was Neil. I'll go over Neil as well. And what else? Here. So Cardano. Let's start with Cardano first because I still reasonably believe Cardano can go up and can go up impulsively. Is it right now? Is it today? So I want to wait for a bigger correction to form here. If you guys recall, originally I had the structure drew like this. I drew the structure like this. We have an impulse correction. Only impulse, right? This was my entry here to break even right away and kind of just keep dropping here. So what I would prefer, there's a small correction here. Looks like we can go up, but preferably is I actually want to see price move down to this low here. So forming a double bottom or at the bottom of the structure and potential completing this structure here and looking for the next upside. Okay, so naturally after a strong bullish push, right guys, this is all strong bullish push. Look how many buy entries we're able to do here, but ultimately is to wait for this correction to finish, right? We know how price move. Large impulse phrase, we need a large consolidation correction phrase, and then the next up move for bullish continuation. So that's what I'll be waiting for. I'm not interested in the buy here. I want to see if price can complete this and continue upside from there. Most of the crypto I talk about being bearish, right? Most of the crypto I don't see them being bullish. Bitcoin Cash, we have this impulse correction impulse. This looks like something can happen here, but I still favor the bearish move from this point, unless this is a bullish impulse correction, and we're going to push up higher above this high. here, but until then, we're still holding a kind of a bearish bias on this. So Bitcoin, talked about this earlier. Um, I don't see most of the crypto or include Bitcoin to be just in the bullish move. I see it all short term being bearish. I want to see a bigger continuation structure to go higher, right? We talk about this. If we look at this overall structure that we're making, naturally after a long impulsive phrase, we're going to see a corrective phrase and then the next impulsive phrase. So same idea here, after an impulsive phrase, we naturally need to see another corrective phrase, another correction to continue upwards. So that's why I'll say short-term wise, I do expect them to drop a little bit more. And then if they can drop down to this low here, I would be definitely buying here again, right? Because that's a better price to buy rather than at 60,000 or something. Price just needs to form a bigger correction, just like what we have seen in the past, and resume the bullish trend afterwards. Hey, Moshi, how's it going, man? Jumping to a few crypto. Most of them same thing, right? Just seeing a bearish kind of approach from me personally. Seeing this as an impulse, correction, impulse, right? This is all looking big, just like last week when I did. So USD, same thing. Correction here, we break down. Now this can just be forming a bigger correction here, and we still go down afterwards. EOS, same idea. You're going to see similarly all these crypto had a bearish move down and a bearish continuation correction. Link, same thing, bearish down, impulsive correction, and then push down again. So all this area here, it's all depends on what price will do. Are we going to get a bigger correction here, a bigger continuation correction to push the price down, or we're going to be a little bit bigger consolidation? Okay, so NEO, kind of the same thing. I was originally looking at this as a bullish move, but as this price continued to develop, it's not moving up corrective, impulsively, which is what I was looking for, right? And now I see this move. This is more of a corrective phrase. This can continue move up or move down, whatever. But ultimately, if it's still within this correction, I still see it as being a little bit more bearish and more leaning towards a drop. But these are all short terms, right? A lot of times when I talk about crypto being bearish, I get people kind of challenge those, and that's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with you seeing it bullish or I seeing it bearish, right? Differently. So, but remember one thing, crypto doesn't just keep going up, right? If you're going to say that, then what about all the crash that you have seen in the past, right? So don't let people out there just be like, well, crypto only gonna go up, then how does this happen, right? So don't always think that crypto is always going to go up because you might be one of those who got stuck in here and not willing to sell your positions and then blow your account because of that, right? So that's what I see on most of them. Okay, that's what I see on most of crypto being bearish, and that's about it. So Mana, is that crypto? So I don't have too much data because this is all-time high already. You could be looking at this as a continuation structure. We've been pushing up. There's small correction here, small correction here. This is a large impulse up. Is this going to be a continuation? Well, can we form a correction here to push higher? Just remember, we haven't break this previous high. The C price tried to break this previous high. So be careful if whether or not you wait for a correction here or you prefer to wait for the correction after we break the all-time high. It's going to be safer and better here. Okay. What's happening on Nasdaq? What is happening on Nasdaq? Nothing, right? We talked about this earlier on in this indices. this is more forming and developing into a bullish pattern now. We originally was looking at this as bearish, right? We break down, but there's no continuation, there's no impulsive phrase to break down. Rather, we're looking at it as an impulse, reversal impulse, looking like this is a bullish continuation. And someone also pointed out this can be an inverse head and shoulder as well. So we just have to acknowledge that's what's going on. We can't just be holding a bearish bias is no longer there at the moment. So if this breaks out followed by correction, this is likely to continue higher to the all-time top here. So any question, guys? Any question here? Any of the pairs I just went over? Happy to answer some question now. I went over all the markets, currency, commodity, indices, and crypto. Like I mentioned, I still favor all the dollar, yen pairs to continue, but I expect them to be in a bigger consolidation, bigger correction this week. So patience is really key here. Okay. IOTA, sure. I don't really look at these different coins, but I'll look at it from a first perspective. To me, this is more leaning towards looking like this. This is very similar like Binance coin. We had a push up and then push down, but this move is very corrective. We push up all the way to this top now, and then you can see this sharp impression. We're likely to break out and then continue lower. Okay. Any other question here, guys? Oh yeah, someone asked about the streams again. I know I say this every time, but I mentioned about the streams. I always do the streams 3 times a week. So if you're interested, go on my trading view. You can always click stream for all my streams. They're saved forever, so you can rewatch the streams. You can look at my analysis as well. This is where I post hundreds. On YouTube, you can go on my YouTube, on my playlist. I break down all my lessons and educational material in price action here, in trading psychology here, risk management, and all daily market update. They're all here. Weekly update, weekly outlook is the one that you're in. It's here. And I always do a weekly trade recap videos on every single trade I took every single week, win or lose, break even, or whatever the case may be. I update them honestly and transparently to showcase how trading should be. So you're welcome to check any of these videos on any of the trades that I took for the week. Okay. And all of them are updated in my Telegram channel. So in my Telegram, my streams link, my weekly recap videos, my educational lessons, my analysis, things like that. It's all here. Okay, so if you're interested, just subscribe. You'll get all the notification. Loom USD, sure. Last one. So this is again first time seeing this. I don't like how the price move out collectively like this, right? This is a ascending channel. This is a double top breakout now. Is there going to be a continuation here to go lower? This also looks like a head and shoulder as well. So personally, not looking bullish to me. It looks more bearish to me in that sense. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you like these content, follow me. I provide as much free education as I can. That's what I'm here to do. So, I think that's it. Is there any other question, guys? Any other question from TradingView, from YouTube, live stream? I'm about to wrap it up here. So, any other questions? You can ask me on my Telegram. We have a group discussion chat in my Telegram as well. There's about maybe how many people? We have about 570 people, so you're welcome to join. You're welcome to join this where we can chat, we can ask questions in here with me as well. So it's a different group than my main channel where this is, you're only gonna get notification from me here, but in here is everyone can talk and discuss, okay? All right, so again, be patient out there, okay? I'm gonna emphasize be patient, right? We're at an area where we likely to see continuation from most of these dollar pairs, from most of the yen pairs. Pull back a lot, right? Um, they can still continue lower, right? You can still continue lower, just like the dollar pairs that we talk about. So watch out for those, okay? Keep an eye on those. Keep an eye on those for a potential continuation on the dollar strength or on the yen strength, and look to capitalize on them, okay? So I will end the stream here. So thank you very much, guys, for today's weekly outlook. I appreciate everyone who are new. I see a lot of new faces here as well. So I will. I see one more here. I'll do ONT USD. Kind of the same thing. Yeah, this is all first time looking at this, so I'm just giving you a first perspective on this. This is the same thing I'm seeing across, right? Potential double top here, corrective ascending channel moving up. This is still impulse correction, right? We see this type of right? M style pattern, double top, ascending channel. If this move down followed by correction, expect this to move down all the way to the bottom here. Okay. Love to chat with you guys. Love to see you guys join me next time, and see you guys all next time. I will do a daily market update on Tuesday, New York session. So if you're around, feel free to join me in that, and I will see you next time. All right. So thank you very much. Yeah, we appreciate the sub, appreciate the follow. That's what I do. I'm just trying to provide as much trading information as I can, and honest, transparent way. There's just too many social media BS out there. So I try to be as transparent and honest with everything I do, because that's what you need to continue in this industry, right? The so-called gurus or scammers out there, they're not around after a couple of years. I intend to be around for the next 30, 40 years. I want to stay truthfully to what I do, and that's why I'm here. All right. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Hope you guys enjoy the. And I will see you guys all in my New York session market update on Tuesday. All right. Links will follow in my Telegram. So see you guys there. All right. Thank you very much. Bye bye.